welcome back to the more YouTube channel. It's Chris back with the rant stroke thought of the day. Definitely a rant, this one. The salt is pouring thick and fast with regards to Newcastle United's success this season qualifying for the Champions League. They're all coming out of fucking woodwork. In particular, a journalist who writes for The Athletic, so hence our title, The Pathetic Athletic. Really, this guy makes me feel like I want my pound back. He really does. So I'm talking about Nick Miller, who's wrote a piece about how Newcastle are no longer likeable as a club. Now, to be fair, The Athletic do have some great journalists who write, from George Caulkin and Chris Woff in particular, who cover Newcastle very well, do a great podcast, Pod in a Time, with Taylor Payne. And George has even tweeted and said he's not really sure what this article's all about. Newcastle United have been brilliant this season, enjoyable, exhilarating, exciting. But that's not what Nick Miller has written. No, Nick Miller has basically said that, you know, we used to be a really likeable club under the Keegan days, and then he talked about Bobby as well. And there's a real undertone to this piece, and you don't need to have a magnifying glass to read it or find it. Basically, what he's saying is it was great when Newcastle United were the plucky little team that tried hard and then failed all of the time. We don't really want them being successful, is what he was saying. Of course, he's reached for the deck and he's pulled out the cards that you all expect to see that these people have as a state-owned football club. He talks about Khashoggi. He's pulling this all out again. And listen, everybody knows, what goes hand in hand with the owners of our football club, right? We get that, we understand it, but you can still be happy that your club is being successful and your manager Eddie Howe is a fantastic coach. But no, yet again, Nick Miller and the like are expecting Eddie Howe to answer the questions about being owned by the Saudi Arabian PIF. You don't see these people putting these questions to the government, given the amount of deals that Saudi Arabia have got going on with the UK government. And ironically enough, the very platform that this guy is publishing his piece on is also heavily invested by the Saudi state and the PIF. But that's by the by. He even talks about Manchester City and PSG as well, since it's hard to find them likeable. Now, there seems to be a direct correlation here between likeable and successful. So basically, you can be likeable but pretty shit and never really threaten the greedy six, which is clearly one of the clubs that Nick Miller supports. That is pretty evident. This piece could not be more salty if you just sprinkled it all on the page and tried to make letters out of it. It's pathetic, really, hence the title. But yeah, this is just something we're going to have to get used to as Newcastle United fans, sadly. But there's no real kind of journalistic integrity or skill set with this piece. It's basically just a bitter fan of one of the other clubs who's possibly been leapfrogged by Newcastle United this season, because yet again he takes away the achievement, the accomplishment that Newcastle United have achieved this season by just pulling out the card from the deck of that the other clubs have had crap seasons. That's why we're here. Now, don't get me wrong, that's a factor as to why Newcastle United have finished fourth, because Chelsea have imploded. Liverpool haven't really got off out of the traps really this season either. Both those teams possibly will come back stronger next season. Spurs are in meltdown, but that does not take away how well Eddie Howe has done with this football club. Yet again, he's saying, of course they're going to be there because it's the money. As we said last time, it's all about the money. What he fails to put in this piece, the context, is how great Sean Longstaff has been, how great Joe Willock has been, how great Callum Wilson, Joe Linton, all these players who were there before. Dan Burn, the left back from Brighton, the Blythe lad that nobody really wanted. This guy, these guys have been the heroes of this season, but yet again, there's no context, there's no reference or referrals to them in this piece. It's all about Newcastle being this, Newcastle being that. He talks about how, the worst bit, I think one of the worst takes in it, it's so hot you could fry an egg on it. One of the worst takes on it is when he says we celebrated, the 0-0 draw against Leicester. And we've been playing like, I think it's a League Two team in the FA Cup, which is just, not only is it just disrespectful, it's completely and utterly inaccurate as well. You go back and look at the stats in that Leicester game, Nick. We fucking annihilated Leicester. We hit the woodwork 3 times. We had about 29 shots. On any other night, we could have won 5 or 6-0. We were 5-0 up against Spurs in 20 minutes. We played some exhilarating football this season. Some of our players have been absolutely brilliant. We've got the best defence in the league. Kieran Trippier was up for Player of the Year. He'd probably been the PFA Team of the Year. Wouldn't be surprised if any of the other players make that list as well. Bruno Guimaraes is one of the most exciting midfielders in the league. Joe Linton has been reborn. All these things that these journalists just completely overlook when they're pushing the narrative and they're pushing their own agenda. Referencing the Saudi state, referencing The fact that Eddie Howe is ducking his responsibility to answer questions about, a part of the world that he doesn't know anything about, really. You don't put them towards people in power like Rishi Sunak and etc. So why would you put that towards a football manager just because he happens to be the face of the club, in your own words? It's a lazy article and it's embarrassing for the Athletic. It really is. They've got some great journalists in there and I really enjoy their pieces, but this was utter tripe. And someone like Nick Miller really shouldn't be writing for the Athletic if that's the kind of crap that's going to spew off his pen onto the page. So that's my thoughts on that. Screw Nick Miller and screw all these salty bastards as well. Newcastle United have had a fantastic season. Everyone should be proud of their achievements. Certainly Eddie Howe and the players and all of us fans as well. And all these stupid little salty, snarky pieces are not going to take any of that excitement away from us. So let's enjoy the season, guys. We've got one more game to go against Chelsea this weekend. Let's finish strong. And next season, we'll just be back to piss all these people off yet again. So this is Chris signing off for the Rant of the Day. If this is the kind of thing you like, consider subscribing. We'd love you to come and join us. Like the video, help get around YouTube. Have a cracking bank holiday weekend. We'll catch you all later, everybody. Bye.